things don't look bright for the Lakers regarding trading Russell Westbrook. As Westbrook's game has already hit rock bottom, the Lakers are stuck with an unsaleable asset. It's already seeming to become the worst trade in the history of the NBA. So here's the vital details about the Lakers trading Russell Westbrook. Let's start off with Magic Johnson's harsh words. In March, Magic Johnson went off on Westbrook during a pregame show. The Russell Westbrook trade has been a heap of hardships for the Lakers. In case you haven't been able to keep updated about his regression, don't worry, you'll be clearly updated soon enough. But the key takeaway here is that Westbrook used to be called Beastbrook due to his ferociousness on the court. Today, the Beast has become as docile as a sheep, or as ineffective as a dog with no teeth. Westbrook isn't a good player anymore, and his performance has been declining for years. If no one had really given Westbrook the terrible news, he was in for a rude awakening. Magic Johnson unleashed the full hard truth. Appearing on the Lakers-Warriors pregame show, Johnson said the Westbrook trade could go down as the worst trade in Laker history. Magic Johnson also added a dire warning saying, if we don't get out of the play-in game, qualifier, which is to say don't make the playoffs, the Lakers were doomed to undergo some major setbacks. It was a spectacle to see. Magic Johnson went in on Westbrook, as though he was talking directly to him on live television. You know there were expectations when you called LeBron James and Anthony Davis and said you wanted to be a Laker, Johnson said. You saw Kobe Bryant play and win all those championships, and Kobe said you were the guy. So you know you had to come here knowing that it's about championships when you put on the purple and gold. Quit battling the press, take ownership and accountability and say, hey, I haven't played well, but I got a chance to turn it around. So I'm tired of the excuses. It's time to take ownership and say, I've been playing poorly, but hopefully I can turn it around. Although it's their job, the Lakers front office made a serious mistake with acquiring Russell Westbrook. His decline has actually been ongoing for a while, and should have certainly been foreseen. When first arriving on the NBA scene, Westbrook kept a reputation as a high-usage player who was engulfed with athleticism and raw will. During his 2016-17 MVP campaign, his usage rate was a record 41.7%. He was a resilient player, always hustling at turbo. This hatched his nickname Beastbrook, as he demonstrated exceptional work ethic with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Kevin Durant was gone at that time, yet he remained formidable with Enes Freedom, who was then known as Enes Kanter. With the Thunder, Westbrook put up massive numbers. Oklahoma City won 47 games, with Westbrook leading the league in scoring at 31.6 points a game. He added 10.7 rebounds and 10.4 assists per night, recording just the second triple-double season in NBA history. His records meant that he'd be the second to join Oscar Big O Robertson's exclusive club that he started in 1962. Even during the 2016-17 season, despite the Westbrook is inefficient narrative being spread, most people didn't pay attention because Westbrook was still very successful. 2017 was the year he won the league MVP award, aside from becoming one of 2 players in NBA history to average a triple-double for a season where he set a record for the most triple-doubles in a season, with 42. But in hindsight, experts have re-examined the stats and found out exactly when Westbrook's decline began. It came down to the win shares. In the 5 seasons, Westbrook's WS48 declined. Not fractionally either. Westbrook had regressed significantly, and the truth was always in the numbers. According to the NBA statisticians, beginning with his MVP season, Westbrook's WS48 figures began to decay, and the devil was truly in the details. In the 2016-2017 season, his WS48 reached an exceptional .224. The following year, that decreased to .166. In the 2018-2019 season, it slipped downward to .124. Then it collapsed to .098 in 2019-2020. 2020 through 2021 saw no difference as rock bottom showed a WS48 of .075. Now, as of January 2022, those numbers lay in murky waters in the crevices of the Grand Canyon at .041. The mighty Westbrook has surely fallen, and by this point, it was too late for the Lakers. Overall, the problem with the Westbrook trade isn't just that Westbrook has reached the point of no return on the road to terrible, it's what he costs to acquire. Aside from his $44.2 million salary for this season, the Lakers traded Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell to get Westbrook. The first two were especially integral in helping the Lakers win a championship. They both provided shooting and perimeter defense, whereas Westbrook has provided absolutely nothing. There's more blame to be dished out because the Lakers were reportedly set to trade for Buddy Hield. But LeBron and Davis took up the crusade to trade for Westbrook instead. In the end, the Lakers could have gone either route, keep Kuzma and KCP or trade for Hield, and they would have surely been better than they are with Westbrook today. Yet, people still have faith in Westbrook. It does seem that people are delusional at times. Consider Magic Johnson. He seemed to believe that the solution is simply a matter of Westbrook taking accountability and playing better. But regardless if Westbrook takes all the accountability, Westbrook will never get better. Consider him a one-hit wonder. That ship has sailed. Yet, it seems like LeBron, Davis, Rob Pelinka, and Magic still want to think of Westbrook as the player he used to be. Mr. Triple-Double Beastbrook will never resurface. He's not that player anymore, and he hasn't been for a long time. The statistics bear the truth. For the biggest Laker fans who probably have much more of their livelihood riding on the success of the Lakers, they are understanding very quickly that Westbrook isn't the main party to blame. The Lakers franchise front office should have done due diligence. It's understood that mistakes and accidents happen. Consider the long-injured bench warmer Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. But the Lakers front office had ample of time to analyze the stats and the hype. They should have been able to determine that Westbrook was on a terrible decline. The Lakers bumbled it from the start, and now it's headed to becoming the worst trade in franchise history. According to unofficial experts of the NBA, what Magic and others are really getting wrong is actually thinking that Westbrook still stands a chance to make a comeback. Some hardcore fans are even on the verge of saying, "Quit fooling yourself." Now, it's been noted that even if the Lakers somehow get out of the play-in and into the first round, it won't make the trade any better. It will just be a team winning in spite of a horrible trade because they have the greatest player in history and Davis got healthy in the nick of time. That trade was a mess when it happened. It's still a mess now, and it's just creating more of a mess. Kind of like trying to clean wet shit, but actually spreading it even more. Let's just hope the crap doesn't hit the fan for the Lakers. Currently, the Lakers are facing two big questions this offseason, and both of those questions are heavily fused. They've got to decide whether or not to trade Russell Westbrook and hire a new head coach. Despite Westbrook's struggles to succeed alongside Anthony Davis and LeBron James this past season, a recent report by The Athletic's Sam Amick suggests that how the Lakers are handling their head coaching could indicate their future plans for Westbrook. As a matter of fact, according to Amick, a key part of the Lakers' head coaching interviews has been how a candidate would better utilize Russell Westbrook next season. Amick was quoted saying, "Despite the widely held belief that the Lakers would find a way to trade Westbrook before the start of next season, sources say their coaching candidates have been asked to discuss how they would use him in their system during interviews." The takeaway for candidates, it seems, is that maximizing Westbrook's presence after his disastrous 2021-22 season is considered an important part of this job. That Amick decipher is only reinforced with an earlier article by the NBA analyst of the LA Times, Bill Plaschke. Then, on an episode of the Doug Gottlieb Show, it was revealed that Phil Jackson, who's advising Jeannie Buss and the Lakers front office, actually prefers to keep Westbrook on the roster. It might seem like madness, but here's how Plaschke justified the decision. "I've heard that Phil would like LeBron traded. I've just heard that, but I've got nothing to back that up. No on-the-record stuff to back that up. I do know that Phil would like to keep Westbrook and try to make that work with him." As for the once Beastbrook, he hasn't officially opted in for the final year of his contract, but it's almost a certainty that he does. Many fans are clamoring for the Lakers to send Westbrook and his expiring $47 million contract elsewhere this summer. But there aren't any 33-year-old guards who are going to turn down that big money included in the contract. Therefore, it seems like the Lakers are pretty much stuck with Westbrook, and those, like Magic Johnson, will only pray that Westbrook can make a comeback. But pray all you want, Westbrook will need a miracle regardless.